G'day, if you don't know me, my name is George. And I've got a message of hope ready and fresh for you. Today is 17th of March 2026. And I want to begin with a story that happens more often than I think it normally would. Alright, well, a man in Wyndham Vale last week won $50 million in Powerball winnings. $50 million. You know what? He actually deleted an email that told him so. Because when he saw it, he assumed it was junk. Like a scam, perhaps. He only looked again because something made him curious enough to check. Sure enough, and when he did, I imagine there was a moment of very still silence in that house. When he finally spoke publicly about the whole thing, he said he wanted to be humble with the money. He wanted to help the community. He still wants to stay in the suburb. Nothing's changed for him. Okay, great. And I genuinely found myself pretty favourable to this man. I've never met him. And almost certainly, I don't think I ever will. Not that it matters. But that story opened a door in my own mind that I'm not sure I'm entirely wanted open. And this is because the obvious question followed immediately. What would I do if I won $50 million? And that's tax-free, mind you. Now let's be honest. Have you ever run that thought experiment? I'll pause it for now, have a think. $50 million, tax-free, lands in your account tomorrow morning. Woo! What would happen next? Actually, I personally know someone who won $500,000 prize. Yep. But he's still the same person, so good on him. Now, what surprised me wasn't the extravagant things that arrived in my imagination. The house, sure, maybe a trip somewhere, long overdue, maybe. But knowing George, what surprised me was the anxiety that arrived right alongside it. You would think $50 million in your pocket. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, of course it is. Well, the quiet voice asking, how do I steward this large sum? Because it's not $100, not $1,000, not $100,000, not $1 million, it's $50 million, right? It's quite a significant amount. What if something goes wrong? How do I protect this money? Seems to be more money and the worry doesn't dissolve. It just found bigger things to attach itself to. Now mind you, I still take $50 million if you offer it to me unconditionally. Of course I would. I've watched this pattern across years working in the finance, alright? And I watched it in my own life. Because someone told me this explanation about money. I want to share this with you now. Money is an amplifier. Yeah, I thought about it quite a bit. I think that's an honest way to describe it. I'll tell you why. If you are generous at heart, I'm guessing more money makes you even more generous. It amplifies your generosity. On the other side of the coin, if you're anxious, you're a hoarder, you're a really nasty person, you're feeling insecure, I bet that more money feeds your anxiety even more. It doesn't cure it. If you're proud, more money turns up the volume up on the pride side. You see, I don't think the character change unless there's something drastic happens. The amplifier just makes it even louder about your personality. So that removes a comfortable fantasy. The fantasy that says, oh, I would be different if I had more money. Well, would you? Are you generous now with what you actually have? Are you humble now at your actual income? I'm asking because the windfall doesn't install those things. It reveals whether they were ready already inside you. And this reflects on what Jesus says. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 to 21. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. I encourage you to read that again in your own time, and read it slowly. Let it sink in. Pray about it, please. Yeah, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So it's not the other way around, right? Not where your heart is, your treasure will follow. It doesn't say that. Your heart follows your treasure. What you accumulate, what you protect, what you spend your mental energy managing it, that is where your heart ends up living. You see, it's logical. The treasure leads and the heart follows. So that's not just a warning, that's a self-check. You can do that in your own time. Now, if you want to know where your heart actually is, not where you tell people it is, not where you intend it to be, look at where your treasure is going. Your money, yes, but also your time and your attention. Equally valuable. Those are your treasures too, and they are not lying to you. Well, if this is making sense to you, please hit the subscribe button. Give me a like. And after this, share the video to someone you like. Because there's more to come. Now, I once read about a man named David Lee Edwards. Have you heard about him? The story goes like this. In 2001, he won even a bigger prize. Almost bigger prize. $27 million in US Powerball. 27 million. Nothing to sneeze at, right? However, it's been reported within 5 years they were all gone. He had a mansion, luxury car, private jet, even failed business ventures. Very common. He had a severe drug addiction. And by 2006, he was living in a storage unit with everything repossessed. Unfortunately, he died in 2013 at 58 years old. His final years in hospice care. Oh boy, $27 million gone. Then the man himself, not long after that. Yeah, to me that's a tragedy. Well, the moth and the rust found him anyway. And here's what I want to say carefully about David Lee Edwards. Because I don't believe the point of that story is that he was a bad man. I don't know. He was a bad man who got what was coming to him. No, can't say that. I only know this. Whatever was already in his heart, the money amplified it to a volume his life couldn't contain. Are you seeing the picture? The amplifier doesn't care about the amount. It does not. Moth and rust are not dramatic catastrophes. Moth and rust are slow. True, right? It's patient, unnoticed until the damage is done. And that is the very picture Jesus chose. Not a heist, not a fire. It's a slow deterioration of the things you trusted to save you. And the anxiety I noticed in my own thought experiment, that's the rust happening in my brain, working quietly in the background. It was there before the imaginary $50 million arrived. And it will still be there the morning after, I'm sure. Whereas treasure given, treasure that costs you something, that serves someone who cannot repay you, that doesn't deteriorate. Doesn't get eaten, it doesn't get stolen. Not spoiled by the rust or the moth. Now I know what that cost involves because I felt it. Twice in my career I passed on a job offer to a friend instead of taking it myself. At that time I felt they needed it more than I did. Plus, I had the confidence I'll find another job. And I did. Both times. No worries. But what I remember from those moments isn't the outcome. It's actually the feeling of releasing something without knowing how it would resolve. I don't know. Not $50 million, just an opportunity held briefly, then open and let it go. And this is what choosing treasure in heaven looks like when it arrives in ordinary clothes. It doesn't come with triumphant trumpets sound. It feels uncertain, and then quietly it feels like the right thing. And that's a good feeling. Remember, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. That's why I love the Bible. It tells a lot of truth. You know, the Windfall dad could have moved suburbs. He could have bought the biggest house on the streets. Whatever subjects he chose, I'm sure, in Australia or even beyond. Instead, he said, same place, same community. Let me see how I can help you. Anyone who know that man, let me know too. Yeah, love to have a coffee with him. Now, I keep returning to that deleted email. He nearly missed it entirely, right? The $50 million sat there in his junk mail folder. One tap from permanent deletion while he went about his ordinary day in Windfall. When he found it, he didn't immediately become a louder version of his worst impulses. No, he became a louder version of something quieter, which suggests that the humility was already there before the money arrived. And the amplifier confirmed it. So I'm about to end it here, my friends. The money and time you already have right now is already amplifying something. It's already pointing somewhere. It's not the hypothetical version of you with 50 million. It's the actual version of you this week and what you actually have in your hands. That version, it's telling a story about where your heart is. You got to know where your heart treasures, not where you wish it lived. There's an email in your junk mail folder right now. It's not from Powerball. It's from God, and it's been sitting there if you haven't been paying attention. If you've been closing your doors to Jesus, don't do that, please. I'm asking you, have you checked it lately? Because God and Jesus is knocking at your door. Alright, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for being with me. And keep your questions coming. They're really good. Have a good one, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.